Music is a wonderful thing. In film, it can provide energy and motivation for a scene, and in most performative songs, it can make you want to dance, cry, or remember a fond memory. Music in video games does all of that, all at once. It can represent a game's visual aesthetic, influence its atmosphere, and even help tell a story. In Streets of Rage, the music perfectly complements the dark yet colorful world. The music combining techno, dance, and at times jazz into a perfect neon-filled potion that scores your fights perfectly. The music oozes with atmosphere and attitude. In Marvel's Spider-Man, the main theme soars to life as you leap from building to building to stop would-be criminals in their tracks. It's an awe-inspiring song that genuinely uplifts the player and adds to the thrill of swinging through a virtual New York.
Gotta take out both vehicles! Spider-Man's here! Closer!
Also, Yuri Lowenthal's hands down the best Spider-Man ever.
Alexi, favorite holiday! Nothing post-1965! Go! Love that one! Mine! Spider-Man! Wow! Yes, wow!
The Last of Us takes place in a world where life is on the brink of extinction and hope seems lost. Its main theme conveying sounds of a foreboding nature in a world that no longer promises safety or even the chance for a tomorrow. But the feeling that no matter how bad things get, there's always a bit of light waiting to be found. The main theme starting with ominous tones of dread and uncertainty, but briefly breaking down as hopeful, warm tones peek in, only to be covered by the diminished chords once again.
So, is everything you were hoping for?
It's got its ups and downs, but you can't deny the view, though.
Final Fantasy XV's soundtrack is impeccable from top to bottom. Yoko Shimomura, the game's composer, really outdid herself with this music. The main theme, Somnus, is beautiful, elegant, and brimming with emotion and sadness, perfectly representing the game's story and world. It's hard not to get emotional when hearing the song, as it contains many memories for me regarding this game. Relax and Reflect is more of a mellow tune that emphasizes the wear and tear of a long journey. It occasionally plays during the more somber moments of the game, where the characters are set up at a camp for the night. Now picture this. Your town has been overrun by the dead. You make your way to a police station in hopes that you'll find help, but there's nothing there but dangerous creatures. You make your way to the basement of the station and hear this. The basement theme might be one of the creepiest in the Resident Evil franchise in my opinion. The theme shrouds the area in dread and fear, leaving the player wary of what's around the corner. Seriously, if this theme doesn't make you want to turn off your basement lights and book it up the stairs before the shadow monsters get you, then you should check your pulse because you're probably starting to become a zombo yourself. On the opposite side, we have the iconic save room theme, a tune that comforts the player, letting them know they've reached a temporary safe haven where nothing can harm them. Clear your mind, reload your gun, nothing can get you in here. In the middle of those two themes, we have the second half of the marshalling yard. The song plays towards the end of the game in an area that has no enemies. It offers an almost eerie sense of calm under the moonlight. As the player, you know there are still dangers headed your way, but you find a weird sense of comfort knowing that you're almost home free. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the rockin' ending theme for this game. Seriously, Capcom went hard in the 90s. Also, a quick aside. The absence of music can also add to a game's atmosphere. Take for example the Resident Evil 2 Remake. Music doesn't play often in the game, but you're left wandering around the police station, hearing the sounds of rain hitting the building, wind blowing the exterior shutters, and the muffled sounds of zombies meandering outside. Ghost of Tsushima. Man, talk about a cinematic soundtrack. Its main theme, The Way of the Ghost, is a sweeping song of pain, discovery, and paving your own path in life, even at the cost of your honor and family. The other side to this track is The Way of the Samurai, a song steeped in the tradition of the ancient samurai and the fight to remain bound to their honor. The song accompanies you in a few battles in the game, almost acting as a secondary character in your fight against the Mongol invaders. When this theme hits, it's hard not to feel awesome and in control of a fight, besting each enemy with Jin's arsenal of samurai and ghost weapons. Speaking of Jin, we have the theme of Jin Sakai, an elegant track filled with the struggle of keeping one's honor and leaving behind family bonds to become something seen as a betrayal to your traditions, a ghost. And now we come to the reason this whole video was made in the first place. Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's really too many tracks to choose from here, but the one I wanted to focus on most was this one. The original Jenova theme from OG Final Fantasy VII is an iconic theme that plays many times throughout the game in different fights with the creature known as Jenova. In the remake, the theme is split into 3 different phases. There are only brief moments where the original theme can be heard in the remade quickening track, but as the battle with Jenova rages on, the familiar theme begins to creep in from phase 1 to phase 2.
How's this? A bonus! One more shot!
The strings and choir come to life, almost as if they're helping the player in their fight against the creature. The tempo increases and the orchestra's energy begins to crescendo. The strings tighten as if they're anxious, waiting a surprise. Then phase 3 happens, and the song hits the hardest fucking drop I've ever heard in my life. Seriously, there are multiple YouTube compilations of people reacting to this one part. The original Jenova theme breaks through. It's such a perfectly crafted treat for the fans by the developers. It's as if they're saying, alright, here you guys go. It's that familiar theme you all know and love. Now you're in the home stretch. Take a deep breath and finish this fight. Words can't even begin to express how overjoyed I was at this exact moment. I remember being giddy with excitement and yelling out loud, let's fucking go. The third phase of this theme is just incredible. The beginning sounds like stars falling from the sky en masse, crashing to the ground in an explosive manner. The song's tempo speeds up increasingly. Guitars are introduced. The drummer is beating the devil out of his drums, and they even find a way to slide in the Sephiroth theme towards the end.
It's on you. So it's my turn? Can you take over for me?
It's a perfectly crafted song used to build anticipation in one of the game's final bosses and most memorable moments. It's truly something special.
Gotta get it on.
This one's for you! Here! Come on!
So, here we are at the end of the video. If you made it this far, thanks. This is my first time making this type of video where I've actually sat down and made multiple drafts of a script to really kind of write out and explain how I feel about something. And this one video barely scratches the surface of my love of video game music. There's tons of games I didn't talk about, like Donkey Kong Country, or a majority of the Final Fantasy series, or pretty much anything Capcom and Square Enix have done since, ever. But I just really wanted to talk about video game music. I know there wasn't really a clear focus from game to game, on the topic of music, but I just wanted to talk about video game music, man. Whether it's adding to a game's atmosphere, or its gameplay, or its ability to craft memories and feelings, music can turn a game from something good to something great. Video game music is a very powerful thing. Again, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and maybe I'll do another one of these. Who knows?